back to a brand new episode of Da Boys Fantasy Football Podcast, a podcast that only talks about our league. Week 2 is over. I'm going to recap everything that went down in week 2, maybe even look forward a little bit to week 3. We are on to week 3. Today we got Vibe Check, BP's Complaining Corner. We've got Trade Talk, Gossip, where I'm going to talk a little bit about the standings, Smash or Give Pass. We've got Zach's Starts of the Week. If you don't know what that is, it is a brand new segment. I will explain when we get there. And Feeling Myself. Huge week. A lot of shit happened. Let's go. Injuries. Basically, the whole state of the league is basically what's happening to the Rams currently. That entire roster is hurt, and so are everyone's fantasy rosters. The list goes on and on. Normally, this would be something I would talk about on Complaining Corner and just whine about all the injuries, but I feel like this affects everybody, and I do feel like that is the mood of this week. This week, all you hear everyone talking about is how hard it is with all these injuries. We've got CMC, Puka. We talked about those last week. Jordan Love, Addison, again, we knew that last week. But we've got added to that list, we've got Isaiah Pacheco, Cooper Kupp, not a huge surprise. A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Tua, and then we've got guys that are banged up that probably are going to miss a little bit of time is Joe Mixon, Justin Jefferson, Evan Ingram, Amon-Ra, T. Higgins. Fucking T. Higgins. Obviously it's a big issue right now. What the reason is, I don't have a fucking clue. I think everyone's just, I don't know. No preseason. I have no idea what's to blame for it. A lot of the teams that are getting these injuries are teams that are good. They're on good rosters. So a lot of teams aren't really playing around. They're playing 0 games with it. The Rams is a little bit different. That one is more of a situation like I think everyone just actually is getting hurt. We now have all starting 5 offensive linemen out. I'm going to talk plenty about the Rams in a bit. But injuries is the vibe of the entire week. If you are a team that's scathing through with no injuries, you are one lucky fuck. Because if you look at everyone's rosters, already the bench is on. I mean, go look at Zach's bench. He's got 3 or 4 guys on his entire bench that are just injured. Ride the roller coaster, boys. We are in an age right now where you overreact to every little thing. You want to trade and blow up your team, hit the panic button. Hey, I literally do it all the time. I've made 2-3 trades already this year. And this isn't even honest fantasy advice for you guys. I'm simply saying, if you look at it week by week, fantasy is fucking hard. The things that happened last week don't make any sense this week. Things that are happening this week aren't going to make any sense next week. Fantasy is fucking hard. I mean, look, Alvin Kamara is scoring like it's 2017. Nobody thought that would be happening. But if you just ride the roller coaster, let the season play out, trust some of the guys you drafted, who knows what happens. I was trying to trade Puka Nacua away all last week. I wanted him off my roster, off my team. I know my team is going to be a struggle all year long. I'm going to be fighting and clawing. So I figure trading him to a team that thinks they're good would be beneficial to me. To trade Puka Nacua to a guy that thinks they're going to win and be in the playoffs. Well, turns out after shopping around to literally every single person in the league, except for sorry, Bub, your team, there's no way you would ever want a Puka Nacua. But everybody else, they got a trade offer from me, or at least something. And it turns out I think everybody is in the same boat where they just think this is going to be a grind season. I need every last roster spot. I can't afford to be burning a hole in my pocket and have him sitting on my bench. And to me, that tells me that everybody knows it's going to be a grind. They need every little bit of their roster space. So I think this season is going to be a hard season, and injuries are going to add to that. But just it's a fucking grind. So just keep riding the roller coaster. BP's complaining corner. Yeah, my team is fucking bad. I get it. It's I'm trying though, and there are some bright spots. I think I've got a couple things that are gonna get better, and I just need to grind through it. I managed to score pretty decent points. Brees Hall looks like a stud, so we'll see. BP's complaining corner is not about my team. Plenty of time to bitch and moan about that. BP's complaining corner today is about that Rams and Cardinals game was unlike any experience I've ever been in my life. Not to say I haven't watched the Rams lose, but certainly I've never watched them lose in Glendale. I was 8-0 in Glendale. If you know me, you know I brag about it quite a bit. I talk about how I never lose. I dominate this place since I was a kid. Been coming to Cardinals game and dominating here. Didn't matter when the Rams were good or when the Rams were bad. We've always dominated here. Now, I did think there was a slight chance we were in trouble this week coming into Glendale with a beat-up roster, no Puka, no 4 starting offensive linemen hurt. I did think there was a chance we could be fucked. But then I thought about all the time and all the shit talking I've done in that stadium leading up to the event, people telling me year after year, I think the Cardinals are going to win. They've got the better team. And it never mattered. It never mattered what the situation was. We've been underdogs there, everything. Didn't matter. Rams dominate in Glendale. And I thought about calling in sick, playing sick, saying, no, babe, we can't go to the game. Because I didn't want to put that record at risk. But then I figured the team needs me. And if I really am the guy I say that I am, I need to go and show up, show face. And if we manage to pull out a win then, boy, is that 9-0 going to be the sweetest of all time. Well, show up to the game late. Just nothing was right. We showed up to the game late. Traffic was terrible. I normally like to do a little bit of pre-gaming, something like that, and nothing. Okay, we showed up, kickoff happened. I'm already feel like I'm behind the 8 ball. I look around, we're in some rich seats where there's no Rams fans behind me, just nothing but locals. And I look around and I'm like, could be a long fucking day. And we got our ass kicked. It wasn't close from the beginning. We go down 14-0 quick. Before I knew it was 31-3. There was even a moment where it's 31-3. The scoreboard says 31-3. Rams can't move the fucking ball. Cooper Kupp's still in the game at this point, but besides the point, Kyler Murray has a rollout and sails it 10 feet over the guy's head. I forgot. I think it was Marvin Harrison. And it was just the guy was wide open. He would have probably ran for 40 yards. He sails it. And this whole time I'm internalizing how great a comeback would be in this section where I've been quieted and I am not having a good time. And I thought, what if we come back? And then that happens and the old me comes out and I quickly blurt out, there's the old fucking Kyler I know. That's exactly the guy I know. And it was very loud to where everyone heard it. Guy in front of me, very swiftly, not even like a dickhead. He's like, hey, Kyler is killing you guys right now. And I said, yeah, you're right. And I immediately disarmed me, sat me down. I just sat there. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And I think everybody around kind of did a giggle to myself. And I was like, oh boy, you have lost. You have lost everything. Everything you think you stand for as a Rams fan, talking shit in this stadium, you just took 3 steps back. But hey, I'm 8-1. No one gave me the time of day when it came to winning in that stadium. They just kind of said, oh, that was cool. You guys should have won, blah, blah, blah. At least I felt that way. And now I had group messages being mean. Everyone was rooting against me all of a sudden. Like, what the fuck happened? Like, my team got extremely hurt. Why is everyone being mean about the Rams? But it's probably because I'm an asshole and everyone loves to see me fucking cry and be upset. Honestly, I didn't feel that upset at the game because it was never close. I had zero heartbreak in the game. It was a fucking ass whooping. Marvin Harrison Jr. beat our ass into the ground. James Conner, Kyler Murray, everybody. We'll see what happens next year, but that was not fun, and the Rams are dead. I had such high hopes for them, and this is not a Rams podcast. This is my time to complain, and my time to complain will be used talking about how much high hopes I had for the Rams, and this is why I try not to give high hopes, because I am 0-2, and I did not see that coming. We might win 5 games this year. This is 2022 all over again. We're fucking awful. Only one trade this week. I talked about it earlier when I talked about Puka Nacua, how I was trying to dump him for the whole week. Braden and I discussed it last week. It never got anywhere. But then after winning, Braden decides, you know what? I am going to be good all year long. How sweet would it be to have Puka there? So he was the only target that I could have possibly traded Puka for. I was just trying to possibly get the best possible scenario, best thing I could get for Puka. I was literally thinking I would get I would have taken anybody. Now last week it would have been a great trade, but like Rashid Shaheed, I was gonna trade for him. Zach Charbonnet, both those guys go off. That would have been a good trade for me. But now I've obviously gotten Xavier Worthy for Puka Nacua. I've got a guy now that I can possibly start instead of just having Puka burn a hole in my roster. I asked Braden. His statement was, I'm getting rid of the headache that everyone knows Xavier Worthy is going to be. Puka could be out till week 9, but if I can squeak out a couple more W's until then, he could be a potential league winner for me. He's not wrong. Puka could be a huge plus for him in the playoffs, and that's honestly why I was selling him. I don't know if by the time I get to the playoffs, if I do, Puka being on my roster could do more harm than good. Xavier Worthy definitely has to grow into more of a receiver than just a gadget guy, and that's exactly what he is as a gadget play. He is the Kadarius Toney, the McCole Hardman, the weird play guy, and I think the Chiefs are still building a bit of an identity. They don't know what they are yet, and now it's even going to be more so that way with Pacheco gone. Maybe Xavier Worthy does a little bit to help with their run game. Maybe they lean on him a little bit more. I don't know. Before we finish up with trade talk, I want to just bring up one quick little thing that I thought was funny. I was at the game, obviously. We heard me rant and rave about that. I was watching two guys. Trey McBride, hoping he didn't really go off too hard because I just traded him away. And then James Conner, because I just got him, obviously. Now he's on my team. So I was texting Peeler. Peeler texted me first and said, hey, man, our trade is really good. It was really even. And I said I agreed. I thought that I love the guys I got, but I do miss the guys that went away, Trey McBride. And Trey McBride, to this point, really, he was good. He had a couple good passes, but I think he's sitting at like 10 or 11 points. And I texted James Conner. We're on the goal line, and James Conner fumbles on the goal line, and it flips right to Trey McBride. He jumps on it for the touchdown score. And I said, you son of a bitch. And obviously I'm live, so I'm way ahead of Peeler at this point. He's like, what happened? And then he sends a bunch of laughing emojis. So, like, I just think it's hilarious that shit like that happens, it makes me think that our league is bigger and better than everyone's, and that shit like that happens because they know that it happened in our league. It was a massive swing. The only thing that could have made it crazier is if we were actually playing each other. I got -2 points. Peeler got a touchdown. Peeler's team needed every bit of those points. I needed those points as well, and it was going to be a touchdown had he not fumbled. Gossip, the first time we're going to show the standings of the year, super early, but I want to talk about 3 obvious contenders this year from week 2. Again, it's early. Everything we're saying could be completely wrong here in 2 and 3 weeks, but these guys are all sitting at 2-0. We've got Braden, Kyle, and Zach. Kyle is a guy who I've ranked in the middle, and he has just been surging all the way up towards the top. His team is a fucking wagon. Braden, same way. Both of these guys are scoring over 130, 135 in all of their matchups. Braden, he's got Josh Allen, Nico Collins, James Cook. These guys are balling, and they actually look like guys that are going to be ballers for the rest of the year. It's not just a fluky thing. Nico Collins actually looks like a star. We know Josh Allen's a stud, and we know that's not a fall off. That the fall off is not going to happen to Josh Allen. And then James Cook, vital part of that offense that finally is going to get the run that we thought he was going to be. Kyle Peeler, Alvin Kamara, J.K. Hill, Jefferson. He's looking absolutely loaded. Right now, he's getting just production from all the guys he took risks on. These guys, him and Braden, both took gambles, and it's both paying off. It's just so far everything's came up for them. So we'll see what happens if they face a little bit of adversity. But right now, those guys are at the top of the rankings, and for good reason. They look pretty good. Zach can beat you many different ways. We could talk. I'll show you the roster right here, but I think he's got a solid team, and then he's got guys that are all going to come back at some point this year, and we're going to be looking at another possible repeat for Zach's team. Malik Neighbors had a huge day for him. Welcome to the league. Good for him. Moving down the standings, we got Tyler, who was our top scorer. He will be joining us on this episode. We have a great little chat. We talk a lot about his roster, so we're not going to do it here. Jared had an insane bench day. Christian Kirk burned him. Christian Kirk's not on that team, and if he fills it in with anybody on his bench, he wins that matchup. And Jared be sitting at 2-0, but he takes the L, and he's a very formidable team, though. Justin just simply got outscored. His team didn't play bad. He does suffer the Pacheco loss. I think he's going to now be battling a bit. Possibly he'll look to make a trade. I don't know. The guys that he was looking to trade, at least from what I know from talking to him, the guys he was looking to trade might be needed. So we'll see what he does moving forward. We all know Justin doesn't like to make big trades, so we'll see. From there, that's the top 6, and that is the bad drop-off, because the last 6 in the league so far, we're all struggling. We all have major problems, major holes. The top 3, myself, Adam's team's dog shit, but myself, Austin, and Dakota, we got some things we have, but there's also some things we really need to fix. So we'll see. And then Donald, Mr., and Adam's teams are complete dog shit, and I don't even know what they're gonna do. But hey, again, it's early. Smash or give pass. So if you remember, smash is smash that panic button, or give pass. That's my definition of this little segment. Kyron Williams. So I'm going to make it, instead of it just being about the team, do they need a panic? We're all in that spot where we're semi-need to panic. So I'm going to do more player-specific and what you should do with these guys. I think Kyron Williams is a guy, and it's tough. but I think it's a smash. If I have Kyron stocks right now, I'm looking to sell them. I don't know if that hurts the guys with Kyron, me saying that. I don't know how much influence I have, but me personally, I think looking at that roster, I want nothing to do with any Rams players. I see it being a year where they simply lay down. With that being said, if some offensive linemen come back and Matt Stafford decides that, he's going to make it work with the receivers that he got, we'll see what happens with Kyron. It could just go straight through Kyron again. He's getting the touches. I think Corum's not out of the scenario right now to see where they do with Blake Corum, just to try to save Kyron in a year where everyone's getting injured. I don't know. I'm just looking to get out of any Rams players. So this is more of just me being a sad boy when it comes to my Rams. Bears starters, I'm smashing. I think this is easy. I think whatever happens with Caleb, and I'm a Caleb guy, whatever happens with Caleb, it's going to be a work in progress. And if you are waiting on fantasy, you're waiting on Caleb for fantasy guys like Keenan, DJ Moore, even Roma Dunze, I want nothing to do with that. I don't think anybody does. Smash that panic button. Swift is not a Caleb Williams problem. That's a bad player problem, and I don't think he's very good. Of course he's not very good. Trying to defend your boy Caleb. Yeah. I just think he's not. You can see it's just that offensive line is so bad. DeAndre Swift's not good enough to overcome it. He's not like Saquon where you can just make a bad offensive line look good. I want nothing to do with any Bears starters moving forward. I would sit any Bears starters. That includes DJ Moore. I would legit sit DJ Moore right now until Caleb Williams can prove something. Garrett Wilson, I'm giving a pass. I think that offense is more of a taking your turns thing. I think Garrett Wilson is a game changer. I still think that. I don't think he has any issues getting open or anything like that. I think it's simply a gameplay thing. You got to remember Garrett Wilson. He played probably the best corner in the league. Titans, who came from the Chiefs last year. I don't care. I'm bad at that. So, yeah, Garrett Wilson played a good cornerback. Look it up. Rachaad White, I'm also giving pass. I love the touches that Rachaad White. It's a little concerning. Rachaad White is not doing much with them. I think that offense has been very, very good, and Rachaad should be getting something going, and he's not. But he's got a ton of touches, a ton of involvement, snap shares high. Bucky Irving is not very good, and I think he's coming in at like pass sets and third down and shit sometimes because he's a good blocker. But Rachaad White, I am giving pass. We'll see what happens. This one's interesting. Bijan Robinson. I had to put somebody on there for Justin. To me, I'm giving pass. I don't think it's a panic button thing at all. Obviously, if you have Bijan Robinson, you're starting him 1,000% of the way. But it is getting annoying with Bijan. That game last night should have been so much better for fantasy implications. We've heard the shit talk about Arthur Smith. We've heard it all. We've heard all the excuses. And he's very good. But something's not clicking to where it's not translating to fantasy points, and I don't know what it is. He needs to have his welcome to the fucking league moment, and last night should have been that, and it wasn't. That offense started to move the ball, and when they were actually successful, Bijan wasn't a part of it. Bijan was only a part of it when that team wasn't moving the ball, and they were not good, and that offense was struggling. But all of a sudden, they started to move the ball, and Bijan's not really a part of it. I even seen a little bit too much Tyler Algier. I don't know what it is, but I'm starting to get real fucking annoyed with Bijan Robinson, and I think Justin should too. Zach start of the week. So, new to the program, you're thinking, what is a Zach start? Is that a good start? Is that a bad start? It's a bad start, my friends. Zach started a long time ago when Zach used to be a very bad fantasy football player. He's shaken that, and that's making this segment a little tough. But for the most part, Zach used to make the dumbest starts. I would love to give an exact example, but he would do fucking galaxy brain shit where he would start good run. He would start shitty guys on his bench that made no sense. Rankings, like they were just like, what are you thinking here? He did them. And we started calling it a Zach start, and now dubbed the segment name. So if you have a guy, let me give you an example. Keenan Allen was started this week in our league. Adam got the win anyways, only because Mr.'s team is that fucking bad. His team was terrible. But Keenan Allen was started in this league. Now, you could make the argument that Keenan Allen was he was questionable, probable, looked like he was going to go. Sure. And that game was a Sunday night football game. That's the difference between us, right? Like between a guy like me and Adam, I think I must just take this shit way too seriously. Because I would never, ever risk, without a backup plan in place, I would never, ever risk a questionable Bears receiver to be in my starting lineup on a Sunday night football. Like I would have somebody in place, something. Come up with another plan. Why the fuck would you start Keenan Allen or keep him in your roster and then be like, oh, I'm just going to take a 0. You're not talking to anybody, or show me a Google research where you said, oh, he was questionable. Like, did you even care a little bit? Fucking Jared could have done better than that. Jared definitely wouldn't have made that move. And Jared probably didn't watch the games. He didn't watch any of the games. I guarantee you he didn't watch any of the games. He was moving. And speaking of Jared, he sat Rashid Shaheed. Now, I get it. But that's two weeks in a row now. He's like a top 3 fantasy scorer right now. I totally get it. Not a lot of people would have done it. You had other guys you also could have started over Christian Kirk. But that start right there costed you the game. Maybe it's time to start actually watching football and stop allowing an app, a paid third-party website, make decisions for you, bud. Now, I know that's a low blow because you confided in us, or me, telling me that you pay a third-party website to make your start sit-ems. So for me to just air it out on the podcast and tell all the boys, it's kind of fucked up, right? But when you start making these decisions and they're costing you wins, it's time to talk about it. And Christian Kirk is probably going to be ranked high in your little third-party app for a couple more weeks longer. But you're actually going to have to use your brain, watch some football, and see that maybe Rashid Shaheed should have been in the roster before then. Should have been in the lineup before then. Yeah. And just the Keenan Allen thing really fucking irks me. That, like, how do you make that decision and defend yourself and say that it's not really your fault? Keenan Allen should not have been in anybody's roster because they should have been doing the research and seeing that Keenan Allen is not going to fucking play football. Feeling myself, Tyler joining the program today. Team absolutely went the fuck off, scoring 166 points, 0.14. He comes on and we talk all about his team. Yeah, and that's it. That's it for the pod. Week 2 is done. Week 3, we've got a big waiver week. There's a lot of juice out there on the waivers, so we'll see what happens. And week 3, must win again. Let's see what happens. Anybody that wants to like and subscribe to the podcast, that would be great. Thank you. See you guys next week. Bye.
Keep that energy.
All right. Okay, welcome on, Tyler. I just had him on for the last 4 minutes while I'm getting my shit together. But welcome on to Tyler. Feeling myself. Go ahead, man. Floor is yours. Scored 166.
That's pretty interesting. I got a little peek behind the curtain to see Brandon's little setup. He is not lying.
Fucking-
There's no producer.
There's no- it's a shit show over here for
It's
sure.
just him. But no, it was cool to be the league scorer. Honestly, I don't think I've gotten in like 2 years, so this is pretty sick. It's a pretty cool feeling.
It's
I'm not used
true.
to it. Yeah,
I don't think I've ever had you on to just talk about your fantasy team, like good or bad.
Yeah, because last year I remember when we did the playoff thing, I went back and looked it up. And yeah, I made the playoffs the last couple of years, but I've never been like league high. But then finally I went off this year. But I knew I had a good start though when Achan went off on Thursday. Because like usually when I play a Thursday night guy, they're fucking duds and suck. So when he drops like almost 30, that's a pretty good start.
Yeah, 29.5 for A-Chain on Thursday Night Football. It got to feel good going into
Well, it felt good too because he was like a questionable start because they didn't know if he was going to play. And then what happened?
Yeah.
Mostert's out. So I was like, fuck it. He should get all the work. And he pretty much did.
It was literally a game time decision. I had Jeff Wilson in another league, and I had the other one. I was like, well, I got to wait for this A-Chain thing. And then Zach sent the news, and then boom, you started him, and he went off.
That's the tough part too, because they'll be like, "Oh, he's like questionable." So then you're like, "Fuck, even if he plays, like, is he gonna get the work?" Next thing I know, he gets like 30 touches. I'm like, "Well, fuck, I'm glad I played him."
If A-Chain is out there, he gets the fucking work. That's what love about A-Chain. He is a workhorse.
If he's healthy, I'm starting him. It doesn't matter. If he's active in my lineup too.
Yeah. So you got 166 points. It was really never close with you and Donald. It was kind of like you guys were within like 10 or 20 points in the early morning. And then after that, it's just like you took off.
Yeah, for sure.
Kyler Murray scored 30 points in the 1 o'clock window, and it was over.
Well, and then
you
also
went
too,
off.
like midway through Sunday, they said AJ Brown was going to be out, so I knew that killed Donald because that's his dog, that's his guy, and it only helps me because I have Devontae Smith. So it was like a double-edged sword for him, where he lost his number one guy, and my best receiver got a boost up.
Yeah, that news came in, and it was good. It was good news to get it that early and not get fucked with having to like figure something out on Monday.
Yeah.
But on a team like Donald's, it didn't fucking matter. He had no one to pivot to. He's like,
he could have used the whole bench that still would have beat him. He could just use everyone on your roster, but use all 16 this week.
You would have still won. Yeah, that's correct.
Play everybody. They're all active.
They're all active. You get everybody. All 22.
That's what Sam Laporta doing fucking nothing.
Yeah, Sam Laporta has been a dud this year so far. I think that that's more on Jared Goff than anything, but Laporta is like not even being talked about right now.
That's the thing is like they're working Jameson Williams so much that's like that kind of killed Laporta, it feels like. Or at least that's what it seemed like through the first 2 weeks. Like all of his targets have just disappeared, and now J-Mo's getting like 7, 8, 9 a game. And they're like design plays for him.
Yeah. Another thing, Ramondre Stevenson's been a fucking stud for you. It's 2 weeks in. We're talking early here. But like Kyron looks like your number 3 back.
Yeah, honestly, that was a kind of a diamond in the rough. I'd like to say I had him scouted the whole time. That was more so like, hey, I'm in the draft and I need another good running back, and he's cheap, so we're gonna go with him. But I was like, fuck it. Like, they have a decent defense, a rookie quarterback. Even though May's not playing, but eventually he may play, so they're gonna run it. They just fucking paid him, so I doubt they gave him that deal to not use him. So yeah, it may not be the prettiest, and he may go 30 touches and get 85 yards, but he's probably gonna score.
People forget Ramondre was drafted last year in like a top 15 situation.
Yeah.
Like he was a top 15 running back drafted last year. And then we kind of just assume, Patriots are going to suck again. They kind of do, but Ramondre is still the guy. So congrats to you.
And that's the nice thing too, is like they have Gibson and they use him, but like they run the ball so fucking much, it doesn't matter. Cause like Stevenson will run it 25 times and Gibson will run like 15. They're like, hey, we're going to throw it to you guys.
Yeah. So on your receivers, one knock I've kind of had about your team for a little bit was the receivers. Was Debo and Devontae Smith, both possibly number 2 receivers.
Sure.
Debo is now out. But on the flip side, AJ Brown is also out. So Devontae Smith becomes the number 1.
Yeah.
He's done well in number 1 roles before. You see what he did this week with 20 points. What are you gonna do at the next wide receiver there?
So what I'm probably
looking at your.
Yeah, because Debo kind of fucked me. Actually, I just changed my roster. I just dropped like 3 guys because if you're not performing, fuck, get rid of you this year. We're not playing friends this year. You're not doing it. We're getting cut. I was like, fuck it. At that point, I feel like I'm going to send out my guys, and my second receiver might be kind of a dart throw. I've sent out some trades. I tried to trade Zach Charbonnet at like 90% of the league last week, and no one would take him. He goes out for 17 points, and most of you motherfuckers could have used 17 points in your running back spot, but I was a dumbass for trying to trade him to you.
Hey, I actually last week I would have done it. I wanted.
Then you want to give me Puka isn't playing until next year.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay,
like, hey,
I just forgot that I was
nothing.
I really wanted Zach Charbonnet. Yes, I forgot that was what it was. So let's talk about it real quick. You sent me this morning. You said, "Hey, how would you like to quickly flip Xavier Worthy?" I just got Xavier Worthy this morning, and you're like, "How would you like to just send him my way for Zach Charbonnet?"
Well, it kind of makes sense because, like you said, so I have 3 running backs that are decent, and then I have like Piran on the bench, who stocks, who knows, it could be going up, could be the same. We'll see. So I don't necessarily need Charbonnet, where like most people need running backs, and I could use a receiver. And like Worthy, I feel like would be a good guy for my team because he's boom bust, and like I feel like I'm gonna have consistent guys, so having a boom guy would be kind of cool, but it also would suck for him to get 3 touches and get 1.5 points. So it's a balancing act, but I just feel like Charbonnet is gonna play more games as the starter than Kenny Walker this year. He's already missed a game. He has like the same injuries last year. I know, like, hey, I just keep saying it and no one's gonna believe me until fucking Walker's on the IR or some shit. But I bet you Charbonnet starts, if not 50% more games than Walker this year.
He just looks not very good, man. I watched a little bit of that because I was watching for DK, and he just like looks like fat, and he just like, yeah, he catches his balls, but like he just doesn't look like a fucking good running back. I don't know.
No,
like it's just
he definitely doesn't pass the eye test, but like you can't argue numbers. I mean, like look at like Damian Williams, sucked most of his career, goes to the Chiefs, right situation. He can get hot for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So like, if you're getting the ball in the NFL, like especially if they're gonna throw it to you at running back, and you're gonna be the guy getting the goal line work, like it's not pretty, but it doesn't really have to be. Like I had Kareem Hunt last year, and a lot of times he would get fucking 12 yards but 2 touchdowns, and it's like, cool, I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm curious. Did you try to hit up Mister for Zach Sharp? Anybody?
Yeah,
that guy shouldn't say no to nothing.
Yeah, man. Actually, so funny enough, I tried to send Charbonnet last week to Braden for Worthy. I was trying to work on the same deal, and we didn't end up falling through. So that's why it was funny when you got Worthy. I was like, well, fuck, maybe Brandon will be down for it. And it's I knew you like Charbonnet, and he just had, like I said, it's a reverse because Charbonnet is coming off the high week now, and Worthy's on the low week, where after week 1, Worthy was the hot ticket, and Charbonnet, no one knew if he was going to play or not.
Yeah. No, I'm a week-to-week guy right now, and I'm still not completely over it. I've listened to a bunch of pods today, and a lot of them are on sell Zach Charbonnet and as fast as you can because it's only going to be
a one. For you in years past with all these podcasts?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't worked at all.
The same shit.
No, I haven't. I haven't at all, and I think you're listening to the same podcast as me, and that's where I'm like double mind gaming myself of like, oh, okay. He thinks I'm stupid and I didn't listen to footballers say that fucking Zach Charbonnet's fat and sucks. He thinks that I didn't see that.
I mean, earlier you said you weren't going to listen to the podcast, so I guess that was a lie.
Oh, yeah. Of course it was a lie, dude.
I got the app. I got the rankings.
I've got everything except for, the footballers I have fell off of, but they just do a good job of breaking down the game. So anyways, who do you got in this week?
So I got Zach this week, so that's another pretty tough matchup, probably a top 3 team. And actually, I need to talk to you, Commish, because I got fucked with the schedule because I looked ahead a little bit. I played Peeler week 1, who's a powerhouse already. I got Zach, our reigning champ, week 3. And then somehow I'm the lucky guy who gets to play them both twice. So 4 of my fucking games are against Peeler and Zach.
Hey, man, if you belong there, then, I mean, your team's right there, too. You've got a team that's done really well both weeks. I think last week who did you lose to?
So I played Peeler week 1.
Yeah.
And I would have beat like most of the league, but I played Peeler.
Yeah.
But honestly, what's going to hurt me is just the Debo injury. And like I have other players who are like injury adjacent. So like H&'s the running back for the Dolphins, but like now Tua's hurt. So like that kind of fucks up the offense.
Kyron
Williams,
Williams for sure.
He's the only guy left, so he'll probably get more passes and shit. But it's like, how long does that stick around for?
Yeah,
so, yeah, like
no.
Debo
Things could get ugly for you too, for sure.
Like I said, I got a lot of injury adjacent guys, and then Debo just
injury adjacent. I love it. I love that name. Yeah. All right. Well, best of luck to you here on out. $50 coming your way for the top scorer. 1-1. You're sitting currently ranked what, like 5?
We'll move up to the 4th spot.
4th. You're in the 4th spot. So
that's what right honestly, if Debo was healthy and I was full strength, I'd feel pretty good. But that's like, I mean, Zach could say the same thing. If Christian McCaffrey was full strength, like obviously we could all do that.
Yeah.
If my aunt had dick, she'd be my uncle. You know.
I was just gonna say, yeah. Perfect. Beat me to it. All right, man. Thanks for coming on. Trade? Hopefully we see you. Hopefully we see you more often.
Yeah. Hopefully this is a weekly thing.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to be low scorer too, you can come on that way as well.
No, I'll leave that for Augie.
All right. Like I said, wet blanket. Later, man.
See ya.